If you're a solar installer in the UK, in this video, I'm going to show you how to stop burning your cash on marketing agencies, leads.io, Bark, and all these other vendors, and show you what to do instead. Who am I? My name is Michael Brown. I'm the director of Solar Scale UK. We've worked with over 25 solar installation companies personally in the UK to add at least £250,000 in annual turnover. And we've seen the insides of over 300 solar installation companies in the UK over the past 2 years. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to stop burning your marketing cash or business capital in general on lead sources that eventually don't even work or don't work from day one. So what should you do instead? Now, this video is entirely based on a comment that I got on one of our YouTube shorts earlier this week, and we'll put that up here. And they basically said, well, what should we do instead? You know, you're telling us not to use leads.io, you're telling us not to use Bark, you're saying marketing agencies will just burn you like everyone else. Where on earth do we get leads from if we're not getting it from any of these three places? And you really only have one option left. And that option is split into two, option 1A and option 1B. And this video, I'm going to walk you through each of those two options, why they might be best for your particular situation versus the other, and ultimately what you should do instead of these three vendors that will burn you. So the only option you're left with, if you can't trust the vendors or marketing agencies, is some variation on having the leads in-house. That means you're self-generating the leads. What this does for you is you have complete control. You don't pay anyone a monthly fee, and if a lead comes in for £25, you have the lead for £25. No one's adding a markup to your leads. So you're getting them for what they come in at. And ultimately, if you really think about it, in the case of a marketing agency, it's lose-lose. Because the worst case of a marketing agency is that you pay them, so let's say £1,000 per month and ad spend, and they get you no results. And so you've wasted money on the retainer and you've wasted money on the ad spend. The best case scenario for a marketing agency is they do an amazing job. And by the way, we've never seen one in solar UK. They exist in other industries, but solar in the UK is really hard to get right for many, many reasons that's not relevant to the scope of this video. But the best case scenario for a marketing agency is you find one that does a really good job, and then they basically own you. In the same way, when we speak to homeowners about solar panels, and we educate them that, look, you know, if the energy company raised the prices by 100% next month, you'd have to pay it because you have lights, you have a fridge, you have heating, if it's electric, you have all of these things that with the way we live today, you can't live without. And so the energy company has you by the balls, but solar panel comes in and solves that problem for you, right? It makes you more independent. That same framing is actually happening to you right now as a solar installer. Because if a marketing agency does a good job, which, well, you'd be happy because there's so many that burn you. Maybe you would be very, very happy that you'd found one that didn't. We haven't found one in all of our years. But if they did a good job, they would own you. Because if they turned around and said, hey, we're increasing our prices by £1,000 a month, you're thinking, well, shit, these are the only guys who ever got me a good result. These are the only guys who ever generated me good leads. I'm going to have to pay them because without them, I have no business. And sure, I'll have word of mouth and referrals from the installations that we've had so far. And that's non-negligible, but ultimately what it is non-reliable. It's not predictable. It's not a machine that will consistently generate you X installs per week. It's almost supplementary to the jobs you win from the marketing, right? So they'd have you by the balls. And ultimately, if they turned around and said, hey, we're closing our doors tomorrow, we're no longer in business, now you're left with nothing and your business just collapses. You could be doing 12 a week and it could completely collapse because you don't have it in-house. But if you have full control, then you have full responsibility, but you also have the peace of mind that it cannot be taken away from you like this. And the prices cannot go up like this. So that's your option. That's the only alternative. So I've already answered that YouTube comment. what should you do instead? You should go in-house. But in-house has two different variations. So I'm going to dive into those now. The first version of in-house is a version where you, as the director, if you're early on in your company, or if you have a bigger team, you have someone who maybe you would call them your marketing director, comes in and does this for you. You have a member of your team, maybe it's yourself, start building out ads, whether they're PPC, Facebook, SEO. You start building out some sort of funnel and you generate them using a member of your team. Now, there's pros and cons to option 1A and option 1B, and so you're going to have to weigh up which one is best for you here. Option 1A is having a member of your team do it, and there's many downsides to this. One, it's very, very hard to find and create a funnel that generates qualified leads who have the money and don't want Eco 4, they're actually a homeowner. All of these things you typically want from a lead in the UK. It's actually very, very hard to have a machine to create and develop a machine that consistently produces these results. In other industries in the UK, it's actually quite easy, but for some reason in the UK, solar is very, very hard to do so. This is why all the marketing agencies and lead gens are actually shit, because they haven't bothered to spend the time to solve the problem. They don't care. They make money from you. You are the product, right? They don't care whether they've solved the problem. They just care about making money from you. But as a solar installation company, you care about the problem, because if the problem's not fixed, your business is not growing. And if you look at the big companies in the space, most of them have in-house marketing of some sort. Right, so the downside is it's very, very hard to find and develop this machine, this in-house machine. And the process of finding it and developing it requires testing, and testing requires money, requires cash flow. And ultimately, when you test at the start, you're going to spend at least, if you do a really good job, you're going to spend at least 3 months wasting cash. And if you're putting a decent budget through, call it 1,500 a month, obviously you're 5 grand in the hole. That's the best case, really. There's no way you're going to figure this out in less than 3. 3 is really fast. We have people coming to us who have spent 24 months, doing it themselves, and it doesn't work because they have their time spread so thinly across other things. This is typically the director. So the point here is that although you have all the benefits of going in-house, you have all the negatives of fronting the cost and the risk to finding it yourself. The second option is you have someone come in, not a marketing agency, not a vendor like Leads.io or Bark or Bark's more of a marketplace, or a vendor like Leads.io, and you have them come in and build out a machine that they know works for you and you own it. So it's not something they can charge you a monthly fee for. It's not something that they can just say, hey, we're out of business, see you later, and you now got no leads. It's in your business, it's a machine, and you turn that machine by putting your own ad spend in. So you know that the machine works because they've come in and they built it out for you and it works, and you crank this machine on your own. So if you want to double spend, you can double spend, but the benefits of both of these solutions, 1A and 1B, is if a lead comes in at £25, you've got it for £25. There's no markup. You're not the product of these leads. You just get them for the cost that they come in at. Big bonus. And for both of these, if the marketing agency or vendor goes away, which you're not using, but if they did, you'd be left holding the bag. Now you're safe. So these are the two options, 1A and 1B, and ultimately they solve the same problem. But clearly 1B, you have the peace of mind that you don't have an indefinite period of time where you're testing things and blowing cash and ultimately spending time figuring it out. There's a reason that there's a whole industry for marketing, and you would potentially bring in a marketing director. It's because it's a skill set that you probably don't have, and you can develop it. You can develop any skill if you spend enough time learning it. In order to develop it, you need time. And really, if you're in a situation where you're the director of a solar installation company, there's so many things going on in your business that spending time, hours every day, learning about marketing and trying to troubleshoot your funnel, it's really quite tricky for you. So those are the pros and cons, and that's what you have to do instead. So when you think about which one is correct for me, which one's right for me, really what you have to think about is, well, firstly, what are the cons of option B? No one's going to do that for free, right? Ultimately, you're going to have someone who comes and does it for you, and there's going to be some sort of compensation there, you know, one-time payment, maybe some commission, or you'd figure out some sort of payment plan, right? But they would have to come in and build something out for you, and no one would do that for free. But once it's built, you have it forever. So it's infinitely better than a marketing agency example and any lead, just leads.io or Bark. So it's better than the marketplaces and the vendors. So when deciding whether 1A or 1B is best for you, you have to think about the cons, because clearly the positive of 1A is that you're not paying someone else, but because you're not paying someone else, you're paying with your mistakes. And those mistakes are indefinite. It might take you 3 months, it's unlikely based off what we've seen. It might take you 12. And if it's going to take you 12 months of mistakes, 12 months of mistakes in solar is actually probably 10 times more costly than it would cost to bring someone in to build it out for you. So although you might have like an ego thing where you think, well, I'll do it myself, I don't want someone else to come in and do it, it might actually end up costing you more. But if you're confident that you have the prerequisite skills in order to do a good job to build it out for yourself, then clearly 1B of paying someone else makes no sense, because you could do it yourself, saves you a lot of money, and if you have the time, that's the thing. If you have the time for it, it's a no-brainer. Maybe you have the money and you don't have the time, in which case maybe 1B makes more sense. Or maybe you don't have the money, you don't have the time, but you don't have the skill set either, right? And then you're going to have to figure out a way that 1B makes more sense. So I think these are all the permutations on where you could possibly be at and what situation, which option would be best for you. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you. Like I said, this is just a camera that's propped up to answer a question that was left in the YouTube comments last week. And I thought it was a very, very good question, because ultimately I'm telling you, hey, I'm trying to save you, right? Because we've every time we speak to someone, there's an average of 5 times that the person has been burnt by either a vendor or a marketplace or a service-based business like an agency. And so ultimately, when I tell you these things, and you may have seen clips of me now saying, hey, don't do this, don't do that, do this. I'm trying to protect you, because literally it's an average of 5 times people have been burnt. And the average mistake is around 2K average. Sometimes people have spent like 20 grand in total and seen nothing in return. But ultimately, if you don't sort of heed these warnings, you're ending up with at least a 10K negative in your bank in 12 months time from all the different vendors you've tried and made mistakes with. So it's me trying to save you some money here essentially. But I appreciate, maybe you see a video of me saying, hey, don't use Bark, don't use leads.io, don't use agencies, and then the video cuts out and you're left with, well, what should I do then? All right, mate, like, nice one, don't use any of those, but what do I do now? Completely understand. So hopefully this video is slightly helpful to at least some of you thinking that and wondering that yourself. So I'm going to post here twice a week. Wednesdays and Sundays there'll be a videos like this. There'll be cameras propped up in between meetings and just me giving you some free advice. This way you can take this advice, implement it into your business, and ultimately maybe at some point we end up working together one-to-one so we can help you scale and grow this business that you currently have. Between now and then, we have free resources on the website, free resources bi-weekly on the YouTube channel. And feel free to shoot me a message or our team a message on WhatsApp if you have any questions, and we'll get back to you and see how we can help.